What is up, you freaky folks? My name is Nick. Welcome to my channel. Whatever you're watching, I'm making videos about. And you know how this goes. You're sitting there on Netflix, scrolling forever, basically watching the home screen for a good 30 minutes before deciding to throw on something you've already seen before. Netflix keeps telling you to watch The Queen's Gambit, and you're like, I've already watched The Queen's Gambit like 3 times, and it was perfectly healthy. And that's why every month I make lists of recommendations for all of our favorite streaming services. That way you stay up to date with what to watch and where to watch it. And if you don't already know this, then you're probably not subscribed, in which case you might want to fix that immediately. And don't forget to let me know what your favorites are in the comments. And for everyone who does watch regularly and comment regularly, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys. You're definitely going to want to stick around until the end of the video, not just to catch my bad movie recommendation of the month, which is always fun, but I have a bit of a PSA to share. There's some channel info to talk about. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the recommendations. Number 10 is Into the Wild. This understated drama is based on the true story of Christopher McCandless and the book written by John Krakauer. Emil Hirsch plays McCandless, a recent college graduate who ditches everything he owns to hit the road en route to Alaska, where he plans to live off the land. The film charts his journey and the people he encounters along the way. It's a pretty tragic tale for anyone who is not familiar with this story, but it's also quite fascinating, and I think all of the credit has to go to Krakauer for chronicling this man's adventure, because I don't think we would have this story without all of his hard work. They even had to remove the Into the Wild bus from the Alaskan wilderness because so many people were hiking to it and finding themselves in danger. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I don't want to spoil anything in case you feel like discovering this story through the film, but I know a lot of people will have an unfavorable opinion of McCandless and think this is a romanticized version of a tragedy, but I also think that this is a beautiful story of self-discovery. But this is not a review for Into the Wild. I will not ramble like this for every single recommendation. We're gonna move on, but just watch this movie and let me know what you thought.
Son, how long you been out here?
Couple of weeks.
And before that?
I took the Colorado River all the way down through the Grand Canyon and did rapids.
What's the N stand for?
North.
Number 9 is Silverlands Playbook. This romantic dramedy is based on a book by Matthew Quick. Bradley Cooper stars as a man who has recently been released from a mental institution and moves back in with his parents. As he struggles with his mental health, he forms a bond with a young widow, played by Jennifer Lawrence. This movie is mostly known for Lawrence's Oscar-winning performance. And where the hell has she been lately? J-Law was everything and she was everywhere, and now she's just gone. This isn't one of my personal favorite movies, but I know a lot of people enjoy it, and the performances and the chemistry between the actors make it worth a watch alone.
She's crazy. Whoa, what the hell? She knew where I was, she followed me.
Then why don't you run somewhere else?
Calm down, crazy.
Number 8 is The Frozen Ground. This thriller is based on the real-life story of serial killer Robert Hansen, the butcher baker of Alaska. In it, Nicolas Cage plays an Alaska state trooper tracking the killer with the help of a teenage sex worker played by Vanessa Hudgens. This story is fascinating and one of the more interesting true crime cases to me. The movie doesn't play like an outright horror film, it's very much a dramatic thriller, and in my opinion, it's very respectful and not exploitative. There's even information about the victims during the credits, which I think is a pretty necessary thing to include in a project like this, and the movie does have its moments where it feels very straight to streaming quality. There are some filmmaking techniques I just did not agree with. There's a lot of close-ups and shaky cam, like it's supposed to feel very real, and it just feels pretty shoddy, but overall, I think it's a solid movie version of this case, and I know I'm not alone in liking it.
I promise nothing's going to happen to you.
Look, he's gonna take me. Help me, please.
Have you seen her? Have you seen this girl?
Number 7 is Dallas Buyers Club, another true story. This drama is about a scoundrel of a man, played by Matthew McConaughey. He's racist, he's homophobic, and in 1985, he learns that he's HIV positive. Trying to live with the disease, he begins transporting medicine from Mexico to the US, supplying the gay and trans communities with the medication they desperately needed. This is not a movie I thought I would connect with so fondly, but it was directed by Jean-Marc Vallée, who I I think just makes beautiful work. And yes, Jared Leto did win an Oscar for playing a trans woman in this movie, which we need to stop doing, but the movie as a whole is simply exquisite. It's a heartfelt and honest look at the AIDS epidemic that doesn't feel as artificially slapped together as most Oscar bait dramas that try to tackle the subject.
I feel better. I wanted to thank you.
Well, unless you got cash or new clients for me, I'm busy.
You got enough for 20 of us?
Welcome to the Dallas Buyer Club.
Number 6 is As Above, So Below. This found footage horror film is about a group of explorers who venture into the catacombs beneath Paris, France in search of some Harry Potter shit. While down there, the group are all confronted with their own personal fears as a horrifying truth comes to light. I don't want to say too much about this one for anyone who hasn't given it a shot already, but I will just say that sure, it is found footage, but I think the scares and the themes are much richer than we get in most horror films, and I don't want to give it away, but it has one of the scariest final acts of any found footage horror film I've ever seen.
Keep slow and steady, yeah?
I think I'm stuck.
Just breathe with me, please. It's okay.
What was that?
Number 5 is Spotlight, because Netflix is clearly all about those true known facts, so we have another true story that everyone needs to know about. Spotlight is the story of the Boston Globe's investigation into a decades-long cover-up of sex abuse within the Catholic Church. While it might not be as entertaining as Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it's a story that needs to be told. And I'm glad that it was brought to the screen as an ensemble with sharp and honest writing. It's the movie that won Best Picture in a year full of superb movies because, as I've stated, the Academy is stupid as all hell, but this is a really damn good movie that shouldn't be missed.
When you're a poor kid from a poor family, and when a priest pays attention to you, it's a big deal. How do you say no to God?
Number 4 is The Bling Ring, yet another true story. How did I not realize this until I was scripting this video? Sofia Coppola directs this tale of privileged Los Angeles teenagers in the early 2000s who break into celebrities' homes and rob them blind. Of course, until their inevitable downfall. Y'all, for anyone who was not paying attention to pop culture in the 2000s, this was some real ass shit. I remember seeing report after report of one celebrity being robbed after another, and it seemed like there was this big thief roaming around, and then we found out it was just this group of bitch-ass teenagers. Like, hilarious, just fantastic. Because this is a Sofia Coppola film, it's definitely more aesthetically driven. There really isn't a whole lot of substance to it. You could pretty much watch the trailer and get everything that you get out of the movie, but I'm still recommending it because I think it's pretty well done, and I mean, come on, Emma Watson in this movie, hilarious.
Paris Hilton's hosting a party in Vegas tonight.
Where does she live? Do you think we could find a way in?
I don't know.
Come on, let's go to Paris's. I want to rob.
Number 3 is What Keeps You Alive. Yes, I am recommending this once again because I can. This survival horror film about a lesbian couple who decide to spend a weekend at a cabin in the woods is best seen going in blind. So if you know, then you know, and if you don't know, then you're gonna know, because this is one of the best horror films of the 2010s. If you have not already heard me rant and rave about it, just know it is definitely worth your time. You can thank me later in the comments.
You must be confused. I mean, why would your wife do this to you? Probably thinking we're in love, right?
Number 2 is Good Time. This crime thriller from the Safdie brothers stars Robert Pattinson as a man on a mission after a botched robbery lands his younger brother in prison. He spends the night journeying throughout New York City on a quest to rescue his brother. In last month's video, I recommended Uncut Gems, and I thought to give this a shout out at the same time, but I thought I'd hold on to it and give it its own personal recommendation because it truly is that good. And like the other work from the Safdies, it is basically panic attack inducing, so proceed with caution, but it's an interesting crime adventure that explores the dark underbelly of the world with an unblinking eye.
Something happened. I don't know exactly what. He's been arrested. He's being held at Rikers Island.
Number 1 is Moonlight. What is there to even say about Moonlight? This is the story of Chiron as he grows up in Miami. The film shows how he discovers his identity as a gay black man from his childhood to his teen years and ultimately as an adult. I remember wanting to dislike this movie because the hype around it was so strong. You know when a movie is super overhyped and you're just like, Okay, well, you know what? Not to be a contrarian, but I'm not gonna like it. I'm not just gonna like it because everyone else likes it. And I remember walking out of the theater after seeing this for the first time, and I was just like, yeah, it was perfect. It was perfect. Telling this man's story through the ages fits perfectly with the 3-act structure. The cinematography is beautiful. The acting is on point. The writing is straight up poetic. Barry Jenkins should have won an Oscar for Best Directing, but he won for writing, so it's perfectly okay. We'll let it go. It's fine. Truly, what is there to even say about Moonlight? It is just fantastic. If you haven't already watched it, give it a view while it's conveniently available on Netflix, and just, I don't know, throw away any preconceived notions, just dive in and soak it up.
Who is you, man? I ain't seen you in like a decade. It's not what I expected. What did you expect?
And now it's time for my bad movie recommendation of the month, because you know I can't get through a video without recommending one especially bad movie. And this time, it's Machete Kills. This action comedy is a sequel featuring Robert Rodriguez's iconic character Machete. Danny Trejo reprises the role as a badass mercenary on a mission to take down a supervillain with a nuclear missile. This is like a Bond movie mixed with an 80s action flick while trying to be the most ridiculous thing ever. The first Machete was dumb fun that I happen to enjoy a whole hell of a lot, and this sequel is almost too silly. Like, it almost goes completely off the rails, but it still has plenty to offer that I just can't help but have fun with.
The enemy may have a missile, but we have Machete.
Machete kills. That's what he does.
That is my list of the best movies to watch on Netflix in the month of January. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to let me know what your favorites are in the comments. Hit that like button if you want to see more what to watch videos here on the channel, and definitely subscribe if you have not already, and hit that bell and turn on your notifications. Oh yes, and I have a message to share with you guys, because I've established some rules for myself with these what to watch videos, so I thought I would share those rules with you so you know what to expect. Now, take Moonlight for example. I recommended that in this video, so basically for the rest of 2021, I cannot re-recommend Moonlight in a Netflix video. However, I can recommend it in all of the other streaming services. So this is basically my rule. Each movie can be recommended one time per streaming service for the year. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've made that clear. I don't think I am, but you'll get it. I'm gonna reiterate this message throughout all of the what to watch videos for January, so don't get too sick of this message. I just thought I'd put it out there. That way, you know, if you're like, hey, yo, dude, you just recommended this 2 months ago, I'm gonna be like, well, that was in a Hulu video, and this is now a TUBI video, and also, it's a new year. So the slate is wiped clean, which is why I recommended movies like The Frozen Ground and What Keeps You Alive. Obviously, I can't shut up about those movies, so I figured I would, you know, get those recommendations right out of the way while they're still on Netflix, because they're good. You should watch them, duh. I hope I've explained myself sufficiently. I'm gonna wrap this up. We have been here long enough. Thank you guys so much, especially if you made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. That's it for this one, but I won't stop you from watching another.